Hey everyone, welcome to Full Mock 10, where we're going to start off with the English with the poem Climbing My Grandfather, where the grandfather is seen as a metaphor for a mountain to show how strong and loving the narrator sees their grandfather. So question 1, what is the meaning of free without a rope or net? Usually when you climb a mountain, you have a rope or net below you to keep you safe when you're climbing. So to climb without the rope or net would be B, to climb without any help. Question 2. What does the phrase earth-stained hand suggest about the grandfather? If we go back to where it is in the poem, it's there. The phrase suggests that the grandfather works with the earth, i.e. he's a gardener or a carpenter or a lumberjack or something like that. Question 3. The comparison of the skin of his finger to warm ice is an example of. We look at where it is in the poem. The skin of his finger is smooth and thick, like warm ice. We see the word like there, which means that it is simile. Question 4. The description glassy ridge of a scar employs which literary device? The answer is D, imagery. Question 5. What is the overall tone of the poem? The overall tone is very reflective. Question 6. What does the speaker mean by climbing has its dangers? The speaker is acknowledging the challenges of getting to know his grandfather. Question 7. Why might the poet describe the grandfather's shoulder as still firm? If we see here, a still firm shoulder, I rest for a while. So we know that in his old age, as we're climbing over the grandfather's shoulder, we know that it's still strong enough to hold us. The answer is A, to emphasize his strength despite his age. Question 8. What is the significance of the screed cheek in the poem? It's to show the rough texture of the grandfather's skin, because screed is a layer of sharp sand and cement used in construction. So as to show how sharp and rough the skin is. Question 9. How does the poet depict the relationship between the speaker and the grandfather? The answer is B, they have a close and affectionate bond. Question 10. What is suggested by the phrase reaching for the summit? When you reach the summit of the mountain, you manage to climb all the way to the very top. You manage to achieve the goal. Question 11. Why does the poet describe the grandfather's hair as soft and white at this altitude? At the very top of the mountain, you get the snow, which is at a very high altitude. So we're talking about how white his hair is to emphasize his wisdom and age. Question 12. What effect does the use of direct speech, i.e. watching clouds and birds circle, have in the poem? It tells us exactly what the narrator is seeing at the top of the mountain, so it makes the moment more intimate and personal. Question 13. What can be inferred about the speaker's feelings towards his grandfather by the end of the poem? He has a great sense of admiration and closeness. Moving on to spelling mistakes. Question 14. The mistake is in the word environment, which should be spelt with an N. An N there means blue. Question 15. The mistake is in the word phenomenon, which should be spelt like this. Question 16. The mistake is in the word scissors, which should be spelt with a C. Question 17. The mistake is in the word fluorescent, which should be spelt like that. And question 18. The mistake is in the word cemetery, which should have an E instead of an A. So the answers are B, C, C, B, B. Moving on to capital letters and punctuation. Question 19. The mistake is in section C, because you shouldn't have a full stop directly before brackets. Question 20. The mistake is in section A, because hers does not have an apostrophe. Hers is spelt like that. Question 21. There is no mistake in this one. The answer is E. Question 22. The mistake is the capital letter there. Should be a lowercase r, because it's not a name or a place. Question 23. There is no mistake in this sentence. The answer is E. So capital letters and punctuation, it's C-A-E-D-E. Moving on to the best word. Question 24. Our Uncle Rick was the kindest man I know. He always sent our birthday cards well ahead of time. Question 26. Inside there was always a gift card. All of the cards, he picked them out. He picked them out from the other options, bought them, wrote a note, wrapped them, and sent them a couple weeks in advance. Question 28. I loved the gift cards. Once he bought me a Lego gift card and I got the biggest set I could. So the answers are D, C, A, E, D. Moving on to the maths. Find 15% of 240. Good way to look at this is 15% is 10% plus 5%. So what's 10% of 240? 24. And 5% is just half of 10%. So half of 24 is 12. So we add the pair of these together and we get 36, which is A. Question 2. Jordan has a collection of 1,345 marbles. He gives his friend 689 of the marbles. How many does Jordan have left? So, Jordan has 656 left. Question 3. Plot the points 4, 1, 4, 5, minus 1, 1, and minus 1, 5, and join them up to make a rectangle. So, first coordinate, always the x-axis, then the y-axis. As we know, along the corridor, up the stairs, 4 across, 1 up is there. 4 across, 5 up is there. Minus 1 across, 1 up there. Minus 1 across, 4, 5 up is there. So rectangle should look like that. What is the area of the rectangle? Find this. We have to find the height and the width. The height is 1, 2, 3, 4 high, and the width is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide. And area is width times height, which is 4 times 5, which is 20. The answer is D. Question 4. 11% of 3,600. Good way to look at this is 11% is the same as 10% plus 1%. 10% of 3,600 divide by 10, 360. And then 1%, you just divide by 10 by that, which is 36. So 11% is 396, which is D. Question 5. Work out the value of 9 plus 7 times 8 minus 3. To do this, we have to use BODMAS. Start off, brackets. Are there any brackets? No. Order. Are there any powers there? No. Division? No division. Multiplication. There's multiplication there, so we have to do 7 times 8 first, which is 56. Then, addition. 9 plus 56, 65. Minus 3, 62. The answer is B, 62. Solve the equation x plus 80 equals 15. So you want to take away 80 from both sides. So we're left with x equals minus 65, which is B. Question 7. A square has a perimeter of 32 centimeters. What is the area of the square? The perimeter is 32, means this side plus this side plus this side plus this side equals 32 centimeters. And with a square, all the sides are equal. So divide by 4 sides and we get 8 centimeters per side. To find the area, we multiply the height times the width, which would be 8 times 8 equals 64. The answer is A, 64. Calculate 2.7 minus 0.47. So to do this, that's 6. Carry the 1. 3, 2, 2. Remember the decimal point, and we are left with 2.23, which is C. Question 9. What is 3/7 of 385? To do this, let's first find 1/7 by dividing 385 by 7. No 7s fit in there. How many 7s in 38? 5. And then we're left with 3. 5 again. So 385 divided by 7 is 55. That is 1/7. To find 3/7, it's 1 over 7 times 3. So 55 times 3 is 165, which is D. Question 10. In a 24-hour day, what are the 2 possible times a day shown by the clock? So, we have 12, 3, 6, 9. Between there, 10, 11. That should be a 1. 11. And that 7 there. So, hour hand between 9 and 10. A minute hand on the 8. When the minute hand is on the 8, that means the minutes 40. And if that's 9, the time's 9:40. Or on a 24-hour clock, 21:40. Remember, add 12 to this, and you will find the other time that it could be on a 24-hour clock. The answer is 9:40 and 21:40. There's no need for the AM and PM, because on a 24-hour clock, on a 12-hour clock we use AM and PM, on a 24-hour clock we just use the numbers. Moving on to question 11. What is the difference between two numbers? The difference between two numbers is 7. When the numbers are multiplied, the result is 60. What are the two numbers? Here we can use trial and error. So the difference between 3 and 20 isn't 7, because 20 minus 3 is 17, not 7. So we know it's not that. Difference between 10 and 3 is 7, but 10 times 3 is 30, not 60. 17 times 10 is 170, not 60, so it's not that one. 15 minus 4 is 11, not 7. And 12 minus 5 is 7, and 12 times 5 is 60. So the answer is E. Continue the sequence by giving the next two terms. What are we doing every time in this sequence? To get from 13 to 8, we minus 5. To get from 8 to 3, minus 5. To get from 3 to minus 2, minus 5. Minus 2, minus 5 would be minus 7. Minus 5 again, minus 12. The answer is D. Question 13. 48 cats eat 12 cans of food in 3 days. 12 cats eat how many cans of food in 3 days? So, more cats are going to eat 12 cans quickly. If we have less cats, we're only going to be able to eat less food in 3 days. So this is a ratios question. 48 to 12. 12 to what? How do we get from 48 to 12? We divide by 4. Whatever we do on one side of a ratio, we have to do on the other side as well. So divide by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So the answer is 3 cans. Question 14. Calculate the missing angle. The angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. So to find A, would be 180 minus 42 minus 37, which leaves us with 91. The answer is A. Question 15. How long in minutes does it take the 11:30 train to get from London to Peterborough? So what we want to find is the difference here. So let's first find how long does it take from 11:30 to 12. That's 30 minutes. How long does it then take from 12 to 12:35? That is 35 minutes. So the answer is 30 plus 35, which is 65 minutes. E. Question 16. John looks at the Year 7 test results in maths and lists the marks. What is the range? The range here is the difference between the biggest number and the smallest. The biggest number being 20 and the smallest number being 0. So the range, 20 minus 0 is 20. So the answer is C. Question 17. Solve the following, leaving your answers in simplest form. What we want to do here is make the denominator, which is the number on the bottom of the fraction, the same. So, 1/4 is the same as 2/8 plus 3/8. Then it's just a case of 2 plus 3 equals 5. And because they're both over 8, put 8 there. So the answer is 5 over 8. Question 18. Find the area. The area of a triangle is the base or the width times the height divided by 2. So base times height over 2. So 24 times 9, all divided by 2. What's 24 times 9? It's 216. 216 divided by 2 is 108. It's E. Question 19. The number of boys who failed the test is 15. How many boys passed the test? So fail is 1, 2, 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 3 out of 12 is 1/4 of the boys. 1/4 of the boys is 15. So that means 60 boys is the total number. So 60 minus 15 gives us the rest, which is 45. So the answer is C. Question 20. To cook a joint of beef, you leave it in the oven for 30 minutes. For every kilogram, it takes 20 minutes. Find how long you should cook a joint that weighs 2 kilograms. What this means is that regardless of how much it weighs, it's always going to be at least 3 minutes. Then, for the weight of it, it's just 20 kg on top of that. So for 2 kg, we're adding 20 minutes, which leaves us with 70. Question 21. Every day, a jogger runs 4 kilometers. If he takes 15 minutes to run 4 kilometers, what is his average speed in kilometers per hour? So it takes 15 minutes to run 4. 60 minutes is an hour. So another ratio question. We times by 4. We must do the same to the other side. Times by 4. 16 kilometers per hour, which is D. Question 22. A piece of string is 12.6 centimeters long. If a piece 3.75 centimeters cut from it, how long is the piece of string that remains? So you want to do 12.6 minus 3.75. Remember, the decimal stays the same place here. Let's cut that down. Carry the 1. We are left with 8.85 centimeters of string. A ream of paper consists of 500 sheets. If one sheet of paper has a mass of 4.75 grams, what would the mass of one ream be? So we want to do 4.75 times 500. Which would be 9.5 plus 9.5 plus 4.75, which is 19 plus 4.75. 19 plus 4.75 is 23.75. That would be 4.75 times 5. I did that to make it easier for myself. Now all we're going to do is times by 100. So 23.75 times 100 is, we move that decimal point 2 to the right, and we are left with 2,375 grams. And if there are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram, that would make it 2.375 kilograms. The answer is 2.375, which is A. Question 24. A student sleeps for 9 hours every night. For what fraction of the whole day is the student awake? Give your answer in its most simplified form. So, 24 hours in a day, and they sleep for 9 out of 24. What do we have left from 24? We have 15 hours left that they're not sleeping in. How can we simplify that? We divide top by 3, bottom by 3, and we are left with 5/8. which is B. Question 25. A ferry crossing from Dover to Calais was supposed to leave at 7:45 and take 1¼ hours. In fact, the ferry left 17 minutes late and arrived at 11 minutes past 9. How many minutes did the crossing take from Dover to Calais? So, the ferry left at 7:45. The ferry was supposed to leave 7:45, but it left 17 minutes late, so it left at 8:02. Then arrived at 9 hours, 11 minutes. That means it took 1 hour, 9 minutes, which is the same as 69 minutes, which is E. Question 26. A rectangle has a perimeter 32 centimeters. A rectangle is 3 times as long as it is wide. What is the area of the rectangle? The perimeter looks a bit like that. If we do length to width, and it's 3 times long for every 1 centimeter that it is wide, it's 3 centimeters long. And we want to split that between 32 centimeters. So what's step 1? We add them together. We get 4. Step 2, we divide this total number by 4. 32 divided by 4 equals 8. Question 3, multiply by the parts of the ratio. So we will get 3 times 8 is 24. 1 times 8 is 8. The area of the rectangle then? No. That's the length to width. We are forgetting that this is both the lengths added up. Because of course, the perimeter counts these twice. It counts this side and this side again, this side and then this side again. So these two added together is 24, which makes one of them 12. And these two added together is 8, which makes one of them 4. And we want to do height times width. So 12 times 4 is 48 centimeters squared. Remember your units. The floor of a room is 3 meters wide and 4 meters long. I'm going to tile the floor with tiles that are 25 centimeters wide and 50 centimeters long. How many tiles do I need to buy? So first, let's find out the area of the room in general. 3 times 4 is 12 meters squared. Let's write that over here. We need to bear that in mind. When we do an area question like this, it's important that we use the same unit of measurement in both times. So instead of centimeters here, we want to use meters so that we can compare meters squared. So 25 centimeters, 0.25 meters, and 50 centimeters is 0.5 meters. So 0.25 times 0.5 is 0.125 meters squared. Then we're dividing. We have to divide 12 meters squared by 0.125 meters squared. The answer to that is 96, which is B. Question 28. A mouse walks along the edge of this field. How far does the mouse walk in meters? So the mouse is walking the perimeter. And we are missing a couple distances. We're missing this length here, as well as this one here. How do we find them? We can find this one by adding these two together, because these make the same height. So 75 plus 25, 100 meters. What about this one? If we use these two, we take 70 away from 130 to find the difference. So that 70 plus this one makes the same distance as this. So now we have all the lengths. All we need to do is add them all together. So 100 plus 70 plus 75 plus 60 plus 25 plus 130 is 460 meters. Everybody clear on that? It's essentially 100 meters plus 100 meters plus 130 plus 130. So 460 meters. Question 29. Janice wants to buy as many cookies as she can afford with a £10 note. Each cookie costs 70p. How much change will she receive? We want to divide £10 divided by 70p. Of course, we want to put them in the same unit of measurement, so we will do this in p. How much is £10 in pennies? It's 1000p. So we will write out here 70, 1000, 0, 0, 1. We're left with 30. 30 divided by 70 is 4, with a remainder of 20. A remainder of 20p. She can buy 14 cookies and have 20p change. The full price of a car is £12,000. The car is on sale and its price has been reduced by 35%. Monique has been saving up to buy the car. She already has £7,350. How much more money does she need to buy it? So first we want to find 35% of £12,000. How can we split this up to find 35%? 35% can be written as 25% plus 10%, which are much easier figures to work out. 25% is a quarter, and a quarter of 12,000 is 3,000. And 10% is a tenth, so that is £1,200. So the sale has taken off £4,200. The price has been reduced by 35%, meaning the price now is what remains after we take off this number. So price now is 7,800. So we got 7,800. Let's take away what she has. We are left with £450, which is E. Question 31. Janice is running a bath. She mixes hot water with cold water to make sure the temperature is just right. She uses 5 times more hot water than cold water. Her bath uses 90 litres of water in total. So a ratios question. From hot water to cold water, it's a 5-to-1 ratio. For every 1 litre cold water, she uses 5 times more hot water. So she would use 5 litres hot water. We want to split it between 90. So step 1, add. We add the 5 and the 1 to get 6. Step 2, divide. We divide 90 by 6 to get 15. Step 3, multiply. We multiply 5 times 15 to get 75, and 1 times 15 to get 15. So how much hot water does she use? 75 litres. Because we're in a hot water to cold water ratio. Question 32. In a charity fun run, 1/6 of the runners are adults and the rest are children. There are 120 adults in the race. How many children will run in the race? So, if 1/6 is 120, that means the remainder is 5/6 and they're all children. So how do we get from 1/6 to 5/6? We multiply by 5. So let's multiply 120 times 5. We get 600. So the answer is B, 600. Question 33. Choose 2 numbers which have the same value. So we have here 3/6 is the same as 1/2, which is the same as 0.5. So 8 and 3/6 is the same as 8.5, which is the same as D. So the answer, A and D. Question 34. The timetable below shows information about the overnight train from London to Scotland. How long does the train take from London Euston Station to Glasgow? So if we leave at 7:57, we arrive at 6:45 in the morning. It takes us, let's add the 3 minutes on there to get to 8 o'clock. 4 hours to get to midnight. Then from midnight, it's 6 hours and 45 minutes. So you want to add all of these together. So we are left with 6 plus 4 is 10 hours and 48 minutes, which is D. Question 35. There are 200 pupils on a school trip. Each coach holds 34 pupils. How many coaches will the school need to book? So we want to divide 200 by 34. 68 would be 2 coaches. 72. 102 would be 3 coaches. If we add those together, we can get 5 coaches. If we get 170 is 5 coaches. We're still missing out on 30 kids. We want to add 1 more coach on. We would be able to fit 204 pupils on there, which is 6 coaches. Doesn't matter if there's a little bit of extra space. We need 200 pupils. We have space for 204, so we're good. So 6 coaches. And that brings us to the end of maths. Let's move on to NVR and spatial reasoning. So here we need to find the odd one out. Let's look at the similarities here. So we've got a shape, a white shape, with 2 small shapes on the inside. One of the small shapes is a black face facing in, and a black shape facing out. Half of this little shape is pointed inwards and is black. And exactly half. It's exactly half every time. See that? They split them down a line at symmetry. And it's exactly half. It's the area inside the shape is the same as the area outside. You see, these triangles are the exact same as well. All except on question C, where these triangles aren't split in exactly half. See that? You've got the 2 pointed side down here and the 1 pointed side there. So the answer is C. Question 2. The difference here is we have a line going from a corner to halfway along a side. A corner, halfway along a side. From a corner to halfway along this side. And once again, moving from a corner to halfway along this side. Here, we're going from a corner to another corner. So C is the odd one out again. Codes. Each of these letters correlates to a part of this shape. And the way we look at these is we find which letters are the same, and then we figure out how are these shapes related. So we look at S. Both of these are white triangles. So we can assume that the top letter relates to the shape in the middle. This T is a black triangle, which is exactly what this is. So that is going to be a T. Here, these are both Fs. So what do they have in common with each other? This line, these black bars across the line, are halfway down. That's the difference. With G, they're at the very end, like an I. With F, they're shaped like that. With H, they're shaped more like that. So on this, it's shaped like that. That's the answer. It could be F. TF, the answer is B. Question 4. Both of these P's, what are we looking at? Could it be that the dots go from one at the top, one at the bottom, one at the top? One at the bottom, one at the top, one at the bottom. They alternate each time. So that's what P is related to. So if that's the case, Q means that they're both either at the top or at the bottom. As we can see from P, whether they're at the top or at the bottom doesn't matter. It's just that they're opposites either time. So Q means they're either at the top or the bottom. And R means they're in the middle. So the answer here is going to be Q. As for the bottom letter, we can assume it's related to the direction this triangle is pointed in. All of these letters are different, and all of these triangles are pointing in different directions. So we need to find which triangle points in the same direction as our example. So our example is pointed like that, same as this one. So that will be a W. The answer is QW, which is B. Question 5. These are both S's. What do they have in common? They're both white on the inside. Yep. This is a T, and it's got these lines on the inside. So is this. So this is going to be a T. These are both Y's. What do they have in common? They're both squares. This is a circle, and its letter is X. So that is a circle, and it's going to be X as well. So we're left with XT, which is B. Question 6. These are both M's. What do they have in common? They're both circles. This is an N, and it's a triangle. So this one is going to be N. Each of these letters is different, but so is the number of dots on the inside. On G, there's no dots. On H, there's 1 dot, and on I, there's 2 dots. So there's no dots on this one, which means it is G. So we're left with NG, which is A. Question 7. Similar shapes. So which of these shapes is similar to these ones? What do they have in common with each other? They have 2 halves of a circle. 1 half on this side, 1 half on that side. 1 half on this side, 1 half on that side. 1 half on this side, 1 half on that side. There are only 2 halves, and they're both on opposite sides. It's not that one, it's not that one, not that one, not that one. This one has 2 halves, and they're both on opposite sides of the line. Sorry, the answer is D. Question 8. What do they have in common? A quarter of this circle is black. A quarter of this star, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4-pointed star, and 1/4 of it is black. This is an octagon, and 2 out of 8 sides are black, so it's a quarter every time. Which of these shapes has a quarter? Not that one, that's 2 sides of a 5-sided shape. Not that one, not that one, not that one. The answer is C. 1 side out of 4 is a quarter. Analogy. We want to make a change from these two. We want to apply that same change here. So what change happens here? This part starts off black, turns white. Shape on the inside starts off white, turns black. And it also grows slightly. This triangle gets a little bit bigger. So what we want to do with this keyhole shape, we want to make it slightly larger. We want to make it black in a white hexagon. The answer is A. For the next one, what we're looking at, bunch of little triangles. After the change, it's one big triangle around the outside. So let's first do that same thing here. Bunch of little circles, and we want one big circle. So let's narrow down those. Next, we have a tiny little circle in the center, and that becomes the circle around the outside. Sorry. We start off with a circle around the outside and it becomes a tiny little circle in the center. Here we've got a hexagon around the outside, so that should become a little tiny black hexagon in the middle. So it's not that one, and it could be that one as well. What is the final change made? Well, you see how there are 6 triangles, and they're in this formation. Look at the lines inside this square. They're in the same formation as that. So here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pointing in like that. So we want diagonal. We don't want vertical or horizontal, we want diagonal lines. So the answer is A. Next up, series. Let's carry on the series. What is this shape then? It's rotating 90 degrees anti-clockwise every time. So in this one, should be pointed upwards. So let's cross that one out, cross that one out, cross that one out. We are left with B or E. It goes from black to white to black to white to black. Yep, both B or E are white. I'm going to say it's to do with what direction this line is pointed. Seems this diagonal line is always pointed from northeast, southwest, this way. It's always pointed from northwest to southeast, top left to bottom right, which is exactly what it's doing in E. So that is the answer. Question 12. This little line is rotating 45 degrees clockwise every time. So it will start off like that. So immediately cross that one out, cross that one out. What's happening with these black and white ones? Well, each time, if we assume this is the same circle as this, is the same circle as this, is the same circle as this, it's flipping from black to white to black to white. Turns from black to white to black to white. So here, it's going to be white. So it's not that one, and it's either C or E. We want to look at the pattern on the inside to find out next. So, this side's black, and then it flips over to the opposite side is black, and it flips back again. This side is black, top left is black, then that same top left would be white. So if this side is black immediately at the start, it would be white here. And this side is black, this side's white, this side is black. With a black circle there. So what looks the most like this shape here? It would be C. Question 13. So we start off with 4 identical squares. In the next step, 2 lines have disappeared. In the step after that, those same 2 lines are still gone, but we've also lost 2 more. In the 5th step, these lines still haven't grown back. That's something to note. The lines do not come back once they're gone. And now we're missing 4 more. So, in this 4th step, these lines are still going to be gone, right? So let's cross off any that have them return. So this one, that shouldn't be there. That one, that shouldn't be there. Now both the red ones are gone, so that's good. What about the blue ones? The blue ones are back, so that one's wrong. The red ones are both gone here, and the blue ones are both gone here. And then we've lost 2 more there. So that is looking good. And then, of course, the red ones are back in that last one, so it's not that. So, the answer is going to be D. Question 14. Let's start off looking at these arrows in the bottom right. They start pointing upwards. Then for the next 2 steps, they're pointing downwards. And then for the 4th step, they're up again. Right? They stay in the bottom right corner the entire time. So any shapes like that, it's not going to be, because the arrow needs to stay in the bottom right corner. This shape in the top right stays in the top right the entire time, and it spends 2 steps pointing downwards, then the next 2 steps after that pointing upwards. So that one's not got it in the top right corner, just these 2 do. It seems to me, if we look at this triangle as well, it spends 2 steps pointing upwards, 2 steps pointing downwards. It seems to me that after 2 steps, each shape will flip. So 2 steps pointing up, 2 steps pointing down. That will be facing up. That spent 2 steps facing down, 1 up. This one will still face up. This one will be back to pointing down. And we will be left with something that looks like B, which is the final answer. Question 15. Analogy. So we have arrow in the top left that rotates 45 degrees clockwise. Yep. So this cross is going to rotate 45 degrees clockwise. It will look like that. This cross, bottom right, rotates 45 degrees clockwise or anti-clockwise, because the cross would look the same regardless. So this shape needs to rotate 45 degrees as well, which it does in all of them. Let's check for the cross. That one's pointing up, that one's pointing up. The rest are all rotated already. Next up, let's look at this. This shape rotates 90 degrees clockwise. If we do the same to the division symbol, it will look like that. Let's put that on there. So this one's good. This one's good. This one's not so far. What about this triangle here? So it points upwards in the step on the left. On this one, it is ever so slightly rotated clockwise. Right? It was originally pointing directly upwards, now it's sort of off to the side. If we do the same thing with this, it will be shaped more like that. So it will look like D. Next up, question 16. We have this sort of shield shape And then this will flip upside down, and the black section will become half the background. The other half of the background will remain the same as it was here. And these lines will fill up this shape completely. So let's make those same changes to this. The triangle will remain pointed downwards. This smaller triangle will be on the inside. The colour on the right side, which would be these lines, will become the background for half of it. What direction do those lines go? That way. The colour on the left side, which is this black, will fill in this box, and the rest will remain the same white it was before. So it will look like E. Next up, question 17. So we have 3 squares with a circle on the inside, which becomes 2 squares, a circle, then another square. Shape on the inside goes from black to white. Let's do those same things here. We've got 2 squares, circle, and then let's place that square back on the inside, and it will be white. So we will have a shape that looks like D. Question 18. The colours invert, they go from black to white. And these triangles point downwards. Those arrows, sorry, point downwards. Let's do the same thing here. It will flip colours, so this will become white. And this will become black. And these things will point downwards and be coloured in black. So it will look like C. Similarities. Choose the figure from the right most like the figures from the left. What are we looking at on the left? A quarter has this lined pattern. Let's cross off that. Let's cross off that. The rectangular boxes have 1 black and 1 white. 1 black, 1 white. 1 black, 1 white. So let's cross off that one. And the black circle is always adjacent to the area with the lines. The white circle is always adjacent to this white square. See that? White circle always next to the white square. So it can't be that one. The white circle is next to the white square. The black circle is next to the area with the lines. The answer is D. Question 20. We have a black dot, always pointed downwards. Let's cross off that one, cross off that one. We have an arrow always pointed upwards, which all of these shapes have. What else do we have here? How can we narrow them down? These shapes are never the same. They're always different. That's a triangle, that's a square. This is a triangle and a circle. This is a rectangle and a circle. This one is a triangle and a square. But these two are both squares, and these two are both arrows, so it can't be them. What we're left with is C. Here we have 1 arrow one side, 2 arrows on the other side, one arrow on one side, two arrows on the other side. On this one, the arrow's inside the shape. It should be there, so it's not that. The arrows are all parallel. You follow them all up, they will never meet. So this one can't be right, this one can't be right. And another thing to note, this arrow is halfway in between the other two arrows. So it won't be that one. So what we're left with is E. Next up, we've got a circle in the middle, a square on one side, triangle on the other side. Circle in the middle, square on one side, triangle on the other side. Just those three shapes. So it can't be that one. Circle in the middle, square on one side, triangle on the other side. That's triangle in the middle, so it can't be that. That's a square in the middle, and that's got no triangle, so it can't be that one. The answer is B. Matrices. What is the difference between all these squares that we need to apply to this one? So let's follow it through. These two are both circles, and they're both touching each other. These two are octagons, 8-sided shapes, and they're next to each other. I like to think of this as a cloud or a flower shape, and they're both next to each other. Both of these stars are next to each other. So let's use red again. We've got a heart here, should be next to another heart. We've got an upside down triangle, should be next to another upside down triangle. So it will look like A. Question 24. In these two boxes on the left, we've got a triangle pointing into the circle, and they're facing upwards. On this one on the right, it's facing to the side. So we will put that on the side, and we will have the triangle pointed into it like that. Let's cross that one out. Let's cross that one out. What else is going on? So we've got this square here that shrinks down to become the little square there. We've got this square here. Let's shrink that down and put it like that. So you've got the line going through it, just like that. See, here the line isn't visible anymore. When, as we can see in this one, you can still see the line going through it. So it won't be B. It won't be D, because the square doesn't rotate at all. So this square will stay that way rather than that way. So we are left with E. Question 25. We've got this arrowhead shape with a smaller version of the same shape on the inside. It's pointed the opposite direction. The only difference between these two boxes is that they have flipped over. This corner goes to there, this corner goes to there. It's as if they've been reflected in a mirror. So let's do the same thing with this ribbon pattern. We are left with not that one, because the lines in the heart are pointing that way when they should be pointing like that. Not that one, because that's pointing the same way as that one. Not that one, because the heart's upside down. And as we can see, if we're mirroring it, the curve would be that way, not that way. So it would look like that in C, not in D. Question 26. We have a heart in each row, in every single row. We have a cross in every row. So we should also have this arrowy shape in every row. And what about the pattern on it? So we've got a white shape in every row. Got a dark grey shape in every row. We've got a crisscross shape in every row. So we will be looking at one of these arrows with crisscross on it. Oh, but both A and B are arrows with crisscrosses on them. So is D, but the crisscrosses look like that rather than like that, so it's not D. So does it have this bold outline, or does it have a thin outline like in B? Let's see, every white shape has a very bold outline. All of these ones. Whereas all of the others have regular thin outlines. So there will be no bold outline on the shape, and it will be B. Question 27. Each of these rows has a box with 3 lines on it. 3, 1, 2, 3. Each of them has a shape with 1 line on it. So we're going to assume this one will have 1 line on it. And each of them have a shape with 2 lines. Let's cross out any that aren't 1 line. There we go. What about this star in the corners? So it starts off top left, then go top right, that's in the middle. That's in the middle, that's top left. This one will be top right. This one's top right, middle, top left. There will be 1 in the top left, 1 in the middle, 1 in the right. And we are missing this one in the top right. So you want a singular line with the star in the top right of the image. What about the direction these lines are pointed in? In one box they'll be horizontal, in one box they'll be vertical, in one box they'll be diagonal. In one box they'll be horizontal, one box they'll be vertical, diagonal, vertical, diagonal, horizontal. So we will be looking at C. Next part, reflection. So we want to mirror this shape in this line. It will look like we follow this thing, that will be there. And the shape will look like C. This one, follow that line back, follow this vertical one. That will look like that, which looks the most like E. And we follow this line. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That shape there. That one's pointed that one. That way, this triangle will have to point that way. And it looks the most like D. Building blocks. Let's have a look here. We're looking at one L-shaped piece. This one has an L-shaped piece. Oops. We need something that can fit like that. If we turn this T-shape so that it points that way and it lies flat, we can get this long one to sit on top of it there. And we can place this piece across here. So the answer for this one is A. Question 32. We need one small square, a second small square, possibly a third small square in the back. We need an L shape and another L shape. You can see this piece here dips down slightly there. So that can be seen as another L shape. So this only has the two small squares. We're missing that one at the back. So it's not A. The answer here is D, which has 3 small squares and 2 L shapes. The answer is D. Question 33. We need one tall piece, a small square, an L shape, and then these bits could be anything. The answer is C. It's got the long piece, it's got the L piece, it's got the short piece we need. This shape should look like this. Which is what this one looks like. You see? The answer is C. Rotating the shapes now. The answer here is going to be D. And the direction we've rotated it is pointing this side downwards, right? So this tall piece here sticks up there. This piece points out that way, and it's this piece here. And the answer is D. Question 35. So we have pointed this side downwards and have these blocks facing out that way. The answer is C. This block is pointing out backwards like this. And this block is this one here. So the answer is C. Question 36. The answer is B. Because we have rotated it, the same side is pointed downwards, we've spun it on this way. So this line now points out like that. This block is there. And this bit pointing forwards. So this block still sticks up. Excuse the terrible hard to read drawing. And it will look like that right there. So B. Verbal reasoning. One of these letters fits in this block, in both of those blocks, to make 4 new words. The answer here is C. The letter is D. So we can make the word greed, dairy, like from a cow, with 1 R, dairy, brand, and drown. Question 2. The answer is option D, with the letter B to make thumb, like with a thumbs up. Batch, as in a batch of cookies. Plum, as in what a plumber does. And break, as in break time. The answer is B. The letter B. The option D. Question 3. Option E, the letter is N. Blown, as in blown by the wind. Needs, as in this person needs something. Dozen, as in a dozen eggs. And nasty, as in mean. Question 4. It's option D, the letter E. Humane means nice or kind. 8, the plural of the number. Divine means godly, and edible means it's able to be eaten. Food is edible. The answers there: C, D, E, and D. Here, the letter F moves to the letter I. So we're looking at F, I. 1, 2, 3 spaces to the right. So let's do the same for D. 1, 2, 3 spaces to the right, and we're left with G. From A to D, 1, 2, 3 spaces. From U, 1, 2, 3, X. Let's cross off that one, cross off that, cross off that. For E, For R, it is 1, 2, 3. So for E, it is 1, 2, 3. That's H. We can cross off that, and the answer is B. Question 6. Question 6 is quite different from the others, in that it's a mirror code, meaning these letters are equal distance from the centre of the alphabet. Centre of the alphabet being between M and N. See, A and Z are both the first and last letters. G is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in, and T is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in. So they're equal distance from the centre. So let's work out purify. Purify is 2 across, so it will begin with K. U is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. F. Cross that out, cross that out, cross that out. R. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's I. That leaves us with A. Code for money. We move forward 2 to get to O. We move forward 2 to get to V. Move forward 2 to get to Q. Move forward 2 to get to W. V, W so far. Move forward 2 to get from C to E. Move forward 2 to get from K to M. V, W, E, M. B, E. Question 8. So what we're looking at here, this is the code. So we need to work backwards from this to reach there. So from M to J, one, two, 3 backwards. So we need to do the opposite. We need to move forward 3 from I. 1, 2, 3 to get to L. Next, to get from A to Y, they moved 1, 2 backwards. So we need to move 2 forward from S. 1, 2. We have U. Well, we know the next letter is going to be N, because both of these are N and they're the only 2 options left. So look at the 4th letter. From O to M, we moved 1, 2 backwards. So let's move 2 forwards from A. 1, 2. And we got C, which would leave us with lunch. Next up, letter relationships. A bit like this code. So UE is to SG as KV is to blank. So how do we get from UE to SG? Move backwards 2. Move forwards 2. KV. Move backwards 2. I. V. Move forwards 2. X. GD is to IG. 1, 2. Move forwards 2. And to get to G, 2, 3. Move forwards 3. Move forwards 2, move forwards 3. LO, move forward 2. N. O, move forward 3. 1, 2, 3. R. NR is D. BC to YX. Let's move backwards 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minus 3, minus 5. Let's do the same for EF. 1, 2, 3 to get to B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get to A. The answer is E, BA. Next section, create a new word. So we're going to follow what they've done here to create a new word from the list to the right. They've started off with the O from the word cone. So we're going to take that second letter, R, we're going to put that first. Now to get this C, they could have taken either one of these. But we know they haven't taken this first one because RW isn't the start to any words. Instead, they've taken this C, which means we take this A. So we go for RA. What words here start with RA? Cross that one off, cross that one off, cross that one off. So we'll start with ranch or range. They've taken this E from either one of these. If they've taken this E, it means we take this E as well. But neither ranch nor range have an E here. So it means that they've taken this E, which leaves us with this N. Next up, there's an A in there, which means they've taken the second letter out of this word, which means we take second letter out of this word. Leaves us with G, which would be the start to range. Next up, they have taken the tiger, the T, from the first word. That's the third letter of the first word, which would be P. Then they have an option of two different I's. They've either taken this I, which would link to this U, or this I, which would link to this A. So we've either got PU or PA. Let's stick with them both for now. To get this G, they've taken the first letter of this word, which means we have to take this C. To get this E, they've taken either fourth letter or this one. And we can narrow down that U because none of these options go PU. It's all PA, which make paste. Question 14. They have taken the S from either the end of cans or the end of cars. They're taking it from the end of cans, that means we take this D. They've taken it from the end of cars, it means we take an S. Next, they've taken CAN from somewhere. Whether they've taken the C from here or here means we could take an A or an E. So our first letter is either S or D. Our second letter is either A or E. What about our third letter? They've taken the A from either cans or cars, which mean either W or R. So let's write those down. This N, they've definitely taken from this N because it's the only one there, which means we've taken E. Now, do we see an order that we can follow here? Yes, we do. We see D, A, R, E makes dare. which is option D. See that? You follow this one across. Next up, they've taken this N from the second letter here, which means we take this P. They've got a lot of options for which E to take. So we could be looking at A, W, I, or E. For this W, they've taken the first letter, which means we take a D here. For this next D, again, it could be any one of these. And for this L, it could either be an L or an S. I see here pedal, P-E-D-A-L, pedal, which just so happens to be option A. Next up, we got synonyms. So we want two words that mean the same thing. Spectator and observer both mean somebody that watches. Question 17. Flexible and bendy. Question 18. Reply and answer. And question 19. Delicate and fragile both mean the same thing. So here, question 20, we want to insert a word here. This word would be E, key. So we can make hockey stick. Let's use context clues so we can tell what they're talking about. A stick that could be a sports stick of some kind, i.e. hockey stick. The answer is E. The servant girl was expected to be obedient. So it would be B. Obedient. Meaning she does what she's told. Question 22. My dog often growls at my friend's cat. The answer is D. Rearrange the words. So we want to take a letter from one of these words, and we can put it into the other one. First one is C, T, so we can make meal. Metal loses the T and it gets added onto the end of though to make thought. Question 24. Liner loses the R and becomes line, and bother becomes brother. Biased loses the I, becomes based. The I is added into pant to make paint. Here there is a four-letter word hidden somewhere in these. We circle here. We get swan. Question 27. Span, as in wingspan, arm span. Substitution. These letters refer to different numbers. So we plug them in here. 6 times 7 plus 27 minus 34. Let's first do 6 times 7, which is 42. Plus 27 is 69. Minus 34 is 35. We write it as a letter, which is E. This would be 7 times 8 divided by 4 times by 3 plus 7. 56 divided by 4 is 9. Sorry, not 9. 14. 14 times 3 is 42. Plus 7 is 49. So we are left with D. 49. Next section. Each of these letters correlates to a number. So we have here 6 times 7 plus 27 minus E is 35. So let's start off. 6 times 7 is 42. Plus 27 is 69. Minus 35 is 34, which is written as C. The answer is C. Next up, 7 times 8 is 56. Divided by 4 is 14. 14 times 3 is 42. Add on 7 is 49, which is D. Question 30. 8 times 4 is 32. Minus D, which is 8, is 24. 24 plus 24 is 48, which is B. And C divided by E is 54 divided by 9, which is 6. 6 plus 36 is 42. Plus 9 is 51, which is D. Finally, logic problems. A shop selling scarves recorded this information. More silk scarves are sold than cotton scarves, and twice as many wool scarves are sold as cotton. Pink is the most popular colour of silk scarves. More blue wool scarves are sold than blue silk scarves. The most popular wool scarves are red. And one of these is true. So let's write down what we know. More silk than cotton. Twice wool cotton. Pink, most popular silk. More blue wool than blue silk, and most popular is red. So, pink silk is more popular than blue wool. Blue wool is the most popular silk. That could be true, but we don't know for sure. What we do know is that the most popular wool scarves are red, meaning blue wool is less popular than red wool, meaning the answer is B. So that brings us to the end of that paper. Well done, everybody. I hope you did well on that test.